Welcome to the online course, Have a Sip of Merlot. My name is Loretta Driscoll. I'm your instructional designer here at CMC, and I am your guide for today. What we want to cover is a few talking points. I want to tell you a little bit about Merlot and me. I have a couple handouts. There's a general overview brochure. And what on earth is a learning object? Notice I have object scratched through because they are now referring to what used to be a learning object as learning material. I guess some people were confused at what an object was. So it's learning materials. And we're going to take a look at some of those materials today. And then we will go through an overview of the website for Merlot too, and I'll give you some examples of what these learning materials are. So here we are at the Merlot 2 website, and I want to talk a little bit about how I became involved with Merlot. It was way back around 2006, and I took a little course, sort of like what you're taking now, and I decided to become a member and have used Merlot many times over the years. I am now a peer reviewer for Merlot, actually a peer reviewer extraordinaire, which means that I have reviewed 15 learning materials over a period of a year. And also I was asked to join the Merlot editorial board last year, so I meet every other week with a group of other editors and our leader, Jane Moore, for teacher education, and we discuss learning materials, and we sometimes will go in and do reviews, and we do other things. So it's been very interesting for me. Merlot isn't really wine, although we joke about it. What it is multimedia educational resource for learning and online teaching. And you can go here without being a member at any time and search for learning materials. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And we'll talk about a few other things as we go over this website for Merlot. Merlot has just recently changed. So they were Merlot until fall 2013, and then they became Merlot 2 because they've changed the look of their website like so many websites have nowadays. There's bright colors and instead of a lot of text. There's just headings for their homepage. So we'll be taking a look at each one of these little things as we move on. But first I want to stop and go back to our course. So here I have open the course that you're taking in Canvas, and notice that in the What is Merlot page, I have given you a couple of handouts. This is general information about Merlot. This is a brochure that you could actually print out. You have full permission to do so. Print out, make some nice color copies, hand them out to friends, hand them out to coworkers. You can do your own workshops. Merlot is well behind this. It's all open educational resources, although some of the resources we find in Merlot are not all open, and sometimes there is a cost. It should be designated that it is so, and there is no cost as long as you're sharing Merlot's work. The other brochure is What on Earth is a Learning Object. So this is really the whole purpose of Merlot and how it got started. Again, you're welcome to download this handout of What on Earth is a Learning Object. Notice it says Merlot, not Merlot 2. They're not really even handing this out anymore. We're going to talk a little bit about this learning object. It's really learning material now, right? The DNA from the beginning, because it's one of the classics and it's been updated recently, and so we'll be taking a look at that. But this is an animation that you could find easily if you searched in Merlot. So that would be a kind of a learning material. And then we have other learning materials, such as you might find this tool for spell and grammar checks in French. That would be a learning object. And I'm just skipping down. And here's a virtual tour. So those are different things: virtual tour, animation, study or spell check and grammar check for French. It also, there could be a book, it could be a website, all kinds of things. Any kind of resource that you might use for education, you can find in Merlot. So again, you can feel free to use this, even though they're not handing it out. It doesn't really ever go out of style. All right, so the next step in your course is how Merlot began, and I believe that this video is pretty long. It's 9 minutes. You don't need to watch all that. Watch the first 4. You'll get an idea of how Merlot began, and then Merlot 2 arrived, like I said, in fall of 2013, and this is just 3 minutes, and it'll explain a little bit about what's going on, cleaner, streamlined look. And then we will move on to what I'm recording right now and learn a little bit more. All right, so let's just take look at a few things that are on the Merlot home page. Number 1, membership. And like I told you before, you do not have to be a member to use Merlot. You can. It's very simple. You just create a username and you're in. Username and password, and you're in. You can also browse members of Merlot, which there's over 10,000 members. You become a member yourself, obviously, or you can also become a partner to Merlot, and this would be for institutions that become a partner. There are various institutions that are already partners, and you could go to this page and read a little bit more about who's a partner. We have corporate partners, community partners, etc. I'm going to click Merlot Home here and go back to the home page where we started. They also have a ton of interesting pieces of news and information that you can subscribe to. If you go to this video right here, you can learn all about the different kinds of resources that you will find in Merlot. And that video is the one that you saw for Merlot too. So I don't know what happened with the clicking on that. But this is actually the news and information page. They have a Grapevine newsletter that tells you what's going on with Merlot. And then there's also a blog. They have a conference, which I'll be attending again this year. It's called Emerging Technologies for Online Learning, and it's sponsored by Sloan C. and Merlot. They also have a media center, which is where I got that brochure for you. So you can, like I said, you can download and use these anytime you want. Here's a copy of the new brochure. You have that link. Here's the movie. There's tons of movies on Merlot too. Here's the archives for the newsletter, and here's a link to their blog. So they definitely keep you updated with lots of news and information. Again, Merlot Home. And this Create Materials with the Content Builder is something that you do have to be a member for. So like I said, you would create a username and password. What the Content Builder is it's like a web page design site, so you could actually create your own website with Merlot. Oh, and like it says, it's free. And it is a place where you could actually, your content will be stored, and you can also easily share your website with others. All right, back home. And we have My Merlot, which again, you would need to become a member in order to get to a My Merlot page. And when you do get to a Merlot page, you have such a thing as called a collection. And a collection is another thing that you would need to actually be a member. So in order to create a personal collection, which we'll talk about in a little while, or to contribute materials, or to create content, you would need to become a member. Of course, down in the lower left-hand corner is the About Merlot, and here you'll find out exactly who Merlot is. Their whole collection is available here to look at. They talk about faculty development. So not only do they have resources that are available, but there's also programs that you can learn about, And Virtual Speakers Bureau is one of my favorites. Let's take a look at that. So in the Virtual Speakers Bureau, you can either search for a speaker to come to your classroom, or that you could Skype into your classroom, or you could either become a speaker. So if you have a topic that you're an expert on and that you'd like to share, you could actually offer to become a guest speaker for Merlot. Back home again. And back to About Merlot. There's one other thing down here. So here's the conference that I was telling you about, the Emerging Technologies for Online Learning. Here's the archives of previous, some of the previous conferences that have been held, and you can go and find out more information if you're interested there. And if you have any doubts about anything that is available on Merlot, click on Policies and Practices, and you'll find the acceptable use policy, all about their branding, etc., and even accessibility. So they're right on top of that. And back home again. And let's take a look down here where all these people are. This is Merlot Communities. And we have the community page, which you'll notice there's some overlap going on. So we have Merlot on YouTube, but Merlot on YouTube is also on the news and information page. Just want to make you aware of that some of these places we've already visited. Like, for example, here's Jolt, which we've seen the Jolt, the Journal of Online Teaching, and that's available at other places throughout this website. Over here, this is what I wanted to show you. Academic discipline communities. So we can get really deep into our discipline on Merlot. So for example, if you want to come here and if you're interested in engineering, you can visit the engineering discipline community, and this is where we get deeper in, because you can get resources specific to teaching engineering. You can meet people who are also in engineering and they want to share and contribute and add to your own community of engineering resources. You can also become a peer reviewer here, like I said. Of course, learning materials, we're going to take a closer look at that. And then here you have Beyond Merlot, so this actually takes you outside to other resources, for example, for engineering, American Society for Quality and Society for Engineering Ed and such. So communities that you might also want to belong to. And then here is usually something that is featured, a showcase that's featured, a featured resource or learning material for the engineering discipline. So let's close the engineering portal and go back and take a look at that list of communities that are available to you. And you can see that there's a long list. Mine is Teacher Ed, so if I want to go to Teacher Ed and visit this page, this is where I could belong on the Teacher Education Editorial Board, and there's Jane Moore holding the trophy for 2010. We compete against the other disciplines, peer reviewers, to try and review the most learning materials and do good work. So here's the list. There's my name, and you could be on this list or one of the other disciplines list if you'd like to be. No, there's no pay involved. Sorry. All right, so let's take a look at the good stuff. Over here, search Merlot. You can just come right in, click search. You don't have to go anywhere else. And then when you do that, you're going to get to the search page. So it's a search page. So what are you going to search for? You can search materials. You can search members. You can browse materials. So what's the difference between each? Well, right here, I could just quickly type in search materials, and I'm going to type in DNA because I know I want to search for that one. And let's see what comes up. DNA from the beginning. That's the editor's choice, and this is exactly what I wanted to come to. So I knew exactly what I wanted, and if you kind of know what you want and what you're looking for, 3 little letters, and I got exactly where I wanted to go. So I'm going to just click the back button for a moment and go browse all materials. So what would be the difference between browse and search? That was a quick search. So browse, I'm going to get a ton of materials to choose from over here. So let's say I don't know exactly what I want to look for, but I want to browse through them. And I see that there's 5,000 business materials, which I'm probably not going to want to go through 5,000, but I can actually click on categories that are broken down to maybe narrow it down a little. Maybe I'm interested in business, but I'm not interested in business law. I'm interested in e-commerce. So now we've narrowed it down a little bit, and you can maybe scroll through now and look at the different e-commerce. There's 94. So that makes it a little bit easier to look through and see what's in here. So let's see what is in here. Managing the digital enterprise. This is open courseware. Okay? So you could actually create a course there. Here's a case study. So something very different in the case studies. All right, I'm going to go back to the search home. So I use the breadcrumb tool, and here we search materials and we browse materials. You can also search other libraries. So other libraries would be, right now we're in just Merlot and Connections, which is open courses. You can also search MIT open courses or the National Science Digital Library. You could add these all in, OER Commons. You can also go directly to these places. The Orange Grove, awesome place. University of Central Florida created this repository. So you can see that you can search all kinds of different places if you want to search other libraries if you're not finding what you need here in Merlot. Back to search. And let's see. If you would perhaps want to search for members or browse all members, I'll just go to browse all members. You will find out how many members there are, and maybe you want to browse in a certain discipline. Kathy Swift is our original director of Merlot. Maybe you want to know someone in the humanities, so you could just search the humanities. And you can see that they're broken down again by discipline in the humanities. So we have 392 philosophy people that are interested in the discipline of philosophy. So you see how you can go browse through the humanities and philosophy members this way. Back to search. Or let's say you just want to search the members quickly. You want to find out a little bit more about me. So I'm going to type in Driscoll and click search. And you'll see there I am right at the top, and I have a little badge here, or award, and that means that I'm a silver level contributor on contributing learning materials. And you'll see here that I'm also a peer reviewer. And then you can see anyone with names that came close to that. It says here I'm affiliated with Niagara County Community College, because I still am, actually. And if you click on my name, you can also see the disciplines that I'm involved with, and you can see how long I've been a member. And down here you'll see that I'm also I'm Colorado Mountain College and the State University of New York at Buffalo. Various changes over time. I first started as a Merlot member at Niagara County Community College. So that's why it says that here. So over here on the right, you can see that I haven't really submitted that many materials, just 22. I've made comments on 4, and I have 11 personal collections, which I want to show you what a personal collection is. I just started this one the other day to show you, but for example, I've had collections going on a long time. Let's look at instructional design, way back when, 2000, 2007, 2008, and here's some materials that I found. Teaching and learning in cyberspace, Tag Galaxy. So these are all learning materials that I added to this collection. And I could actually share this personal collection with you with one link. But I'm not going to talk about that now because that would actually be another session. So let's go back to the search home. And we're going to go back to search materials. I know I want that DNA one to come up again for a reason. Just makes it easier. So here it is. Here's DNA from the beginning, and I told you it's been around a long time. So let's look at some of the fine print that goes with it. Right now we're in search material results. So this is a material. It's a learning material, right? And here it says it's a simulation. Tells you who authored it. It was added way back in 2000, but look, it's been modified very recently. Over here on the right, you can see it's been peer-reviewed, and this means it has 5 stars, which is the best you can do on a peer review. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. It has a user rating also, so if you've used it, you can also rate it. There's many comments. It's been added to 412 personal collections. That means 412 people made a little folder, and they added that into their folder for a certain topic. It also has some learning exercises, so we want to take a look at what that means as well. And accessibility info, which there isn't any here. So this is very good for peer review. Let's click on DNA from the beginning. It's like it says, it's a simulation. So here we can go to the material. We know it's a simulation. The format is Excel. Here's the person who submitted it. So the author is different from the submitter. If you find something that you really like, you need to become a member of Merlot, and then you can contribute that site. And what happens is Merlot communicates with, in this case, they communicated with Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory about the material. And so they actually, when it's peer reviewed, they'll make comments to the author stays in touch with Merlot, and so if a link is broke or something like that, then Merlot will tell the author and they can actually fix it. So that's probably how it got updated, because someone found something that wasn't working anymore, or they found new material to add. So then they have a little description down here of what this is. It says it's an animated tutorial about DNA, genes, and heredity, and a little bit more than that. And if you want information on credits, you can go here. So you get more or less information, it depends. And there's some keywords that you would have found this if you typed those keywords in. We just typed DNA. This is an editor's choice and a Merlot Classic, so it did win an award. Like I said, it was peer-reviewed. So if we click on peer-reviewed, and this is what makes Merlot so special, is the fact that 2 people from this discipline, actually 3, but 2 people looked at this object and reviewed it. So well, I say 3, but actually it's almost 4, because first of all, the person that came across it on the internet or learned about it, that Jeff, he said this is really great for the discipline of biology or DNA or whatever. So he contributed to Merlot. Then the Merlot editorial board gets it, and they quickly look at it and say it's worth looking at, it might be worth looking at, it's not worth looking at all. So we do that at the editorial board level, and we call it triage. So some of them are not worth looking at, they don't even end up in the review pile. Then once it goes through the triage, if it's given a 3 or a 4 to be reviewed, we get right on it as fast as we can. So this obviously was a very important learning material. And over here you can see it was rated. The content quality was rated a 5, effectiveness a 5, and ease of use a 5. And this right here is done by 2 people in the discipline. So I didn't do this one. I do teacher ed, not biology. And then you get an average. So the overall rating is a 5. Everything was great on this. We can look, for example, if you click on content quality, it'll go a little bit deeper even and explain, here's the whole review, and then down here is quality, and it says why it's a quality. And if there's any concerns, they'll be listed as well. So this is something that you might want to look deeper at when you're interested in a learning material. And then the next step would be, you could look at that it has learning exercises that go along with it. So not only is it an animation, but someone took that animation and put it into some kind of a learning exercise. So for example, let's look at this first one. It says students use a computer simulation, and it has to do with a fruit fly. They observe the results. So this is like directions for how to do an assignment. And each each one of the learning materials will be different. This one has a rubric right along with it, and the exercise can be modified. So this could be something you need a lesson in a hurry. There it is. Somebody has already done this lesson on the monohybrid fruit fly, and they use this animation that we need to take a look at of D. So we're going to click Go to Material, and you'll notice right away we have left Merlot. So dnaftb.org is where this learning material is actually. So someone came across it on the internet, they went to Merlot, they were a member so they could make a contribution, they added a little information about it, and then it got into our triage to be peer reviewed, and it was, and this has been, 14 years. That's 14 years ago, and it's still a relevant experiment. Animated primer of 75 experiments. We'll just take a quick look at one, and then I want to search for something else. So 16, one gene makes one protein. Let's take a look. Here's the concept. Nice photo, animation. We can start that animation. There's a question, did you know? A little bit more information. There's a video describing this person, which we won't take a look at. There's a little bio on him. So this was just one of the many things that was available here. Here's DNA and protein. Let's see. I want to get this animation to work. It may be blocked on my computer. Oh. So anywho, let's close out of that on the web and let's find something else. So where do we go? We go to the search area and we're going to search materials. Let's do a browse all materials. Let's pick a discipline. How about workforce development? That's different. Let's see what we have here. Hospitality and tourism. One of CMC's major disciplines. Here we go. Here's a career cafe. Let's take a look at this learning material. Learn a little bit more about it. So it says here it's a reference material. It's an HTML text, so it could be just online. As we scroll down, we can see it says it's a 24/7 careercafe.com virtual career center. Okay. And there are some keywords that you would use if you were searching for it. Over here, it is actually rated very highly at 4.5. There's a couple discussion comments. Let's take a look and see. This one says, excellent tool, any grade level. Videos, exercises, all right. And this one likes it too. And they both spent about a half an hour there. So that's pretty interesting amount of time. Now we're going to click Go to Material. And here we are at the Career Cafe, and it looks like another modern website. So we'll scroll down and see they have career news, advice, what's coming up, scrolling up, career coaching, marketing yourself, and I'll jump over testimonials. So these would be people that got jobs. Let's see, about us, FAQs is a good place to go. Why would I need a career coach? So I'm thinking that there is some materials here, but also maybe you have to pay for a career coach. Anywho, let's see. Let's head back to Merlot. and I think you get the idea of how to search for materials. You've learned about peer reviewing a little bit. You know that you can become a member for free anytime you want. You can search without becoming a member. And if you would like to become a peer reviewer, we're very interested. It's an easy process. They send you to Merlot Grape Camp, which is online for a few days online, and it's a lot of fun. You meet some people. So anywho, if you need anything, you can just simply go to, and you go to merlot.org anytime you want. You can do some browsing and searching on your own, or you can also become a member. You can contribute materials. You can make your own personal collections. You can find virtual speakers and more. Thank you.